Good Monday evening, YouTube. This is Ty, Metalhead Weatherman. We got a lot going on, and there's stuff going on right now, as a matter of fact. If you actually are watching my screen here, you'll see that looks like we just got a new watch issued for our severe weather threat tonight. I'll, I'm gonna reload this screen here so that way we get a view of it. Okay, there it is. So we just got a tornado watch issued, and I think this includes Dallas. We'll go into detail about this in a moment. They just had a mesoscale discussion at the National Weather Service about this area having a tornado watch issued about an hour ago, and now they've gone ahead and pulled the trigger and issued it. You can clearly see that there are storms currently ongoing right now in the severe thunderstorm watch to the left of it, to the west of it. And from what I saw just a few minutes ago before I started this video, they already have a tornado warning in effect and several other severe thunderstorm warnings. So things are going on. It's starting to pop off here, and there's still plenty more to go on about tonight. We'll try to keep this video short and sweet, but as you can see, we still have our enhanced risk for tonight. It's kind of pushed a little bit more to the east actually. We have Jackson maybe even in play for tonight as well, or into the early morning. I do think the threat might wane a little bit, but we're just going to have to wait and see because it's a lot of really interesting changes have been made over the last 24 hours since I've last spoken to you guys. But if you also look down here, you'll see that Monday through Wednesday are all enhanced risk. Each of these days with their own unique severe risk, and it's a very dangerous setup, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, we're still waiting to get in range and see if they're going to upgrade that or not. I'm not sure about that day yet. Still looking into it more, but we will go over that in another time. The main things that we're concerned about are Monday and Tuesday. We've seen the enhanced risk for today. Let's go over tomorrow. We already knew this was an enhanced risk, and not much has changed. Tornado threat has ramped up just slightly, and now they're even talking about an area from Columbus to Dothan to Savannah, and just a little bit northeast of Mobile, having a hatched risk area, a 10% chance of a tornado that's greater than EF2 or EF5, a strong to violent tornado. And this is interesting. I think this is new here, where we have this little right where our low pressure is. We have a 2% chance of tornadoes in areas like Jefferson, Missouri, and Hannibal. It's a new development to me, at least. But yeah, there's some significant severe weather expected around this area tomorrow. We have a 30% chance of wind, also more than enough to break the criteria for enhanced. Wouldn't even be surprised if this goes to a moderate risk. Then we go to hail, and we only have a 15%. Thought earlier I saw an area where we had a chance for a hatched risk, but I think that might have been for today's. Actually, we'll go ahead and look at that real quick. So there is no hatched risk for the tornadoes tonight, but that could change, especially as we push further to the east. Damaging wind definitely seems like the main threat. Areas from Dallas all the way towards Jackson, Mississippi, you guys have a hatched risk, meaning that you could get winds of up to 75 miles per hour or more in this hatched risk region. And then our hail threat off to the far west towards areas like Abilene and Midland, Wichita Falls, you have a chance of seeing hail that's greater than 2 inches. So now that we've looked at these 2 days, let's get into the meat of the video here. Let's get a look at what the radar could look like tonight and tomorrow. So we're going to start out with tonight's risk, obviously. Keep things in order. We'll go over Wednesday and Thursday more tomorrow. I may even get to do 2 videos because it looks like I'm probably not going to have a long day at work, because by the time it's about noon, it should be raining here, and doing landscaping and rain doesn't always go too well. It almost does more harm than good. But here we are. We're looking into the late night hours and working towards the overnight here. We're a little bit further ahead than what this model is showing. I think there is a slight discrepancy on the timing, but we're going to move this further and further forward. These storms have actually formed up here already, but we're going to take a look here, see what we're dealing with. Probably a marginal severe threat. No, don't want to get too caught up in reading these soundings. I think out here is going to be a very interesting spot if the radar does indeed look like this. I already think that this is a little bit off kilter anyway. So we're going to move this further and further forward, and we can clearly see that we have a line of thunderstorms. Not really any embedded supercells. This looks like a QLCS once again, but it's not a very organized one. It starts to get its act together as we go towards Tuesday afternoon, and then we do see a little bit of an area here where we get some embedded supercells starting to form. And then, of course, that's when our tornado threat goes up, especially towards the southern sector of Mississippi in particular. Like, you can see several areas of what looks to be these little kidney bean shapes. These are supercells. So we'll keep moving this forward, and it's going to move out of range here in just a moment. And we'll switch over to the NAM real quick so we can watch this go to the east, because we're at the end of our model run anyway. So here we are. We're looking at the southeast now. We see our line of storms. We're on the NAM. Looks slightly different, but not by much. Still looks like there's convection and supercells out ahead of the line. We have dew points that are more than sufficient enough for tornado genesis and supercell genesis. So we move this further and further forward, and right over here towards the southern sector is where I'm going to be the most concerned for any sort of tornadic activity, especially any of the violent variety. So we head towards early afternoon. We watch this scoot off to the east as my computer wants it to scoot off to the west. But you can see that there's like a little line segment that starts to form here. I don't think this organizes itself quite well enough to be anything severe for central and north central Georgia. Alabama, you could get some nasty weather from this QLCS. You could get some marginal severe weather. Temperatures aren't really going to be sufficient enough by this point, I think. Biggest wind threat is definitely looking like it's going to be to the south as well. Tornado threat starts to diminish unless you're on this eastern part of Georgia. I think that could be an area of interest. It's a marginal tornado threat. Makes sense. It's just ahead of the line. And we'll watch this scoot off to the east. And that will be it for Tuesday's system. I'm going to briefly talk about Wednesday's system. Look of it actually seems to be that there's actually two storm systems that are going to be coming in around the same time. And this first storm system is going to move off, but it's not really going to be associated with a cold front, so we aren't going to stabilize the atmosphere. What ends up happening is we just go right back, and we're going to look into the early morning hours here around my area. And you can see we're at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're also at 59 degrees on the dew point as well. We have our lapse rate as well. Obviously, with there being nothing on the radar, we're not getting any sort of hazard type. But I can already see what looks to be a little curve in the hordeograph, which could be suggesting as storms go through, the environment might be more favorable for tornadic activity. So we're going to keep moving this forward right around South Georgia, and then the Panhandle, Florida. I would say you could get like a marginal tornado threat, a couple isolated storms. These are all going to be very scattered in nature. This is more of a favorable threat for tornadoes. We watch this kind of scoot further and further to the north, and of course, as we see these isolated storms, this is what you don't want to see. Tornado threat intensifies. And we just watch this stuff just go everywhere from the looks of it. These storms are going to be isolated in nature. So it'll be hard to kind of forecast kind of keep a good forecast, good track on these storms. Might be ideal for anyone that's storm chasing. But then around the late night hours, we start to see our line of storms, but they all kind of look, they kind of have an ominous look like they're embedded supercells, which is something you never want to see, let alone like forbidding the fact that it's actually nocturnal too. Definitely looks like some bad news ahead as far as that's concerned. But that this one I just clicked here has a very ominous look to it. It looks like a textbook hook echo from this far out. That's a little bit ominous. Hopefully it doesn't turn out this way, but definitely be ready in case it is in Alabama and into Georgia, because this line of embedded supercells, it holds together. And this is most likely gonna roll through very quickly into Thursday. But that's the end of the model run, and really that's all I have for you guys. Over these next couple days, it is crucial to stay weather aware. Whether you really have a plan when the watch gets issued. Don't wait till the warning, because it might be too late. These storms are going to move I expect these storms to be moving very quickly, about 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles an hour, maybe even more than that. So have a plan of action ready in advance, because I don't think we will have a lot of time to react if a warning gets issued. But again, that's all I got for you guys. You guys stay safe. This has been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. Try to spread this word out so that way we can get more people prepared. But you guys have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow.